What's up? What's up? This your boy JG back with another video on music tips and reviews with JG. Uh, I think this topic is one of the most important topics I will talk about on my channel because this subject affects a lot of people in the music industry. First of all, my prayers go out to Kelly Price and her family. I know a lot of you heard the news about her, being missing, but we hope and we pray to God that, she's safe. We don't know all the details, so I'm not going into all of that because I don't know the full details, so I'm not going to say nothing, because I might say something false of what I've heard and what I know. So please pray for Kelly Price and her family. So the subject I'm gonna talk about tonight is prioritizing mental health over music success. I feel this is a very important topic for us to talk about because we know a lot of people that's in the industry. They can change, over time, or something that has built up over time, and they never address those issues. We think about R. Kelly. I'm gonna talk about that. I probably won't talk about that on this episode, but I'm gonna talk about that on part 2. But tonight we're gonna talk about a few artists and what you can learn from these things. Because you might have a problem before you achieve musical success, and then when you get that money, it can increase. You might have an addiction before you get in the music industry, and once you get that money, that addiction gets worse because you're trying to use money to relieve that pain, and you buy more alcohol, you buy more drugs. And that's what happened to a lot of these people in the industry. They try to cope with these things with drugs and stuff, and it don't work. It just ends up to destruction. And if you believe in the Bible, it says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And so we have to think about our mental health before musical success. I thank God, I've achieved a few success in my musical journey, and I'm glad, God keeps me in the right mind, as far as mentally. Sometimes you get depressed because things not happening, as fast as you want it, but we have to really think about these things before we achieve success. So I want to start off with the first person that I know in the music industry that really have coped with, this mental health, this mental illness. If you think about Michael Jackson, he's been in the spotlight since he was a little boy. And he didn't really get to experience childhood like we did. And I just want to play this clip and talk about it because this is very important, especially to the parents out there that has children that wants to be in the music industry and they want to sing and they want to be this big superstar. It starts from when they're young, that you keep their mental health in the right, in the right mind. Keep them in the right mind before they go into the industry. So I want to play this clip. I might skip through it because it's a lot of key points that I want to point out in this interview.
I remember hearing that all the time when I was little. They used to call me a 45-year-old midget wherever I went. I used to always hear that, and I just would hear it, and I never thought about it.
So before this part, she was talking about, Oprah was talking about Smokey Robinson, referring to Michael Jackson because he was so young in the industry. He didn't get to experience childhood.
Just like when some people say, when you were little, when you started to sing, did you know you were that good? I said, I never thought about it. I just did it, and it came out. I never thought about it, really.
So here you were, Michael Jackson.
So yeah, because when he was young, his his dad, really forced them to do the music thing, and he was very strict. I know a lot of you saw the Michael Jackson movie, well, the Jackson 5 movie, and you saw how strict he was on his boys, the Jackson 5.
With hits, you all had so many hits, 4 hits in a row, and you were crying because you couldn't be like other kids.
And like when he first started, they already had, millions and millions of fans around the world. Ever since he was a young boy, like he had that star, quality about him, ever since he was a little boy. So, this fame was not new to him by the time he did this interview in 1993. So.
Well, I love show business, and I still love show business. But then there are times you want to play and have some fun, and that part did make me sad. I remember one time we were.
Yes, the music industry is always busy. You don't get to live life like you really want it. And I know Janet Jackson experienced the same thing. Being in the behind the greatest entertainer of all time, Michael Jackson. So I know she had dealt with a lot of weight loss and, gaining weight back and forth. All that stress of being a superstar takes a toll on you. So.
Ready to go to South America, and everybody was packed up in the cars, ready to leave and go, and the plane was about to, and I hid, and I was crying while I was hiding because I really did not want to go. I wanted to play.
Yeah, when you that little, the people in the industry, they take control of you and tell you where you need to go and where you should go. And like when you're a little kid, you don't really have a lot of control over things. So he, like he said, he didn't really want to go to South Africa and perform. He wanted to, really live like a regular kid.
I did not want to go.
Were your brothers jealous of you when you started getting all the attention?
Not that I know of, no.
You never felt a sense of jealousy?
Let me think. No. I think they were always happy for me that I could do certain things, and but I've never felt jealous.
Yeah, that was one thing I say about the Jackson 5. They was a close-knit family. But the daddy, he implanted a lot of seeds in them that made them discouraged about themselves. So.
Jealousy among them, no.
Do you feel that they're jealous of you now?
I wouldn't think so. I don't think so, no.
No? What's your relationship like with your family? Are you all close still?
I love my family very much. I wish I could see them a little more often.
And I think the closest he was closest to Janet. I think they were really close. And you can tell through, Janet's music that she was really influenced by her big brother. So.
Than I do, but we understand because we're a show business family and we all work. We do have family day when we all get together. We'll pick a person's house. It might be Jermaine's house or mine. And
thanks again for those who are joining in. We talking about prioritizing mental health over music success. This is a very important topic because you have to learn how to handle your mental health before you get in the industry, or it's going to lead to a downfall once you get in the industry.
Marlon's house or Tito's house, and everybody will come together and we'll fellowship and love each other and talk and catch up on who's doing what. And
you all aren't all upset about LaToya and LaToya's book and the things that LaToya has said about the family?
Well, I haven't.
Yeah, I feel LaToya always been an outsider. She was kind of different from the rest of them. She was talking about different stuff about her brothers and sisters, and I feel that that won't good.
I read LaToya's book. I just know I love my sister dearly. I love LaToya, and I always will. And I always see her as the happy, loving LaToya that I remember growing up with. So I couldn't completely.
And this child prodigy, really.
Honestly, I haven't read the book. That's the honest truth.
So
I was trying to skip to a part where he talks more about his childhood and related to his father, in relation to his father.
Let's go back to when you were growing up and feeling all of this. Well, I guess it's a sense of anguish, I guess. So there was nobody for you to play with other than your brothers. You never had slumber parties.
Yeah, he lost that childhood, that real childhood, playing with friends outside because, at an early age, they was in the music industry. They was signed to Motown with Barry Gordy, and, they was always on the go.
You never,
Never.
never.
No.
So I'm wondering for you, being this cute little boy that everybody adored and everybody who comes up to you, they're, pulling your cheeks and how cute, and this child prodigy really, how adolescence affected you? Because I call, adolescence going through that.
And now he going to talk about when he was a teenager and stuff. He dealt with acne, he dealt with all these things, and like if you watch the movie, sometimes they had to lie about their age in order to get certain opportunities on TV and music. So
duck stage where everything's awkward, And I'm wondering if when you started to go through adolescence, having been, this child superstar,
Yes.
did that was that a particularly difficult time for you?
Very, very, very difficult. Really. Yeah.
and we're gonna talk about later on, why he really, his face changed and all that stuff over time, because of stress and word was that he had vitiligo. I think I'm pronouncing it right, vitiligo, and he had that disease, and that affected him as well.
Yes. How so?
Because I think every child star suffers through this period because you're not the cute and charming child that you were, and you start to grow. And they want to keep you young forever and little.
Yeah, and that's the thing about young stars. They go through a lot of stress as well. Everybody wants you to be that same young person that you came in it. Like you came in the music industry. They want you the same way, but you change over time because that's what life does to you. You grow, your voice change. You may get acne and all that stuff. So Michael Jackson was going through that because he wanted that little young boy that everybody fell in love with during his adolescence, times.
Forever.
Who's they?
The public.
Mm-hmm.
And, nature takes its course.
Mm-hmm.
And
It does.
and I had pimples so badly, and it made me so shy. I used to not look at myself. I'd wash my face in the dark.
And I heard a lot of male artists, their voice change and stuff like that. I heard about, Usher, after his first album, they were like, what are they going to do with him? Because his voice had really changed. Even during his first album, if you heard some of his songs, his voice completely changed. And so when he got with Jermaine Dupri, they really had to redefine his career, his sound. So, all this stuff have a toll with your music success. Sometimes in your music career, you're going to have those cold spots. But you have to keep going. You can't let that get to you. You got to, prioritize that mental health and say, I can come back harder. I can do something different. Probably approach your music a different way because, life has its course. So.
Dark. I wouldn't want to look in the mirror.
Really?
And my father teased me, and I just hated it. I cried every day because of it.
Your father would tease you about your
Yes,
pimples?
he would tell me I'm ugly.
Your father would say
Yes,
that?
he would. Sorry, Joseph.
And that's the worst thing, your parents, your father telling you that you're ugly and stuff like that. So parents have a big role in the way their child, really capture their creativity. You have to, instill in them positive things. You don't want to, keep feeding them bad, spirits and stuff like that. And his father, always said he was ugly and stuff like that. And you see how things worked out. He got all this plastic surgery. He wasn't always he wasn't always secure with his image, the way he looked. And like I said earlier, he had a vitiligo, and that really messed with him. With his self-esteem. So. And he was the greatest entertainer of all time, so.
Yeah. What's your relationship like with him?
I love my father, but I don't know him.
Are you angry with him for doing that? I think that's pretty cruel, actually.
Am I angry with him?
Because adolescence is hard enough without
It's
a
very
parent telling you that
difficult.
you're ugly.
It's very difficult. Am I angry with him? Sometimes I do get angry, yes.
Yeah, especially being in the limelight, you got to be careful what you say too. I know he didn't want to say. He probably wanted to say what was on his mind, but he's in the limelight. He's on the Oprah show, and Oprah was big at that time. And he had to really give the best logical answer. So
I don't know him the way I'd like to know him. My mother's wonderful. To me, she's perfection. I just wish I could understand my father.
And so let's talk about these teen years. What is that when you started to go inside yourself? Because obviously you haven't spoken to to the world for,
yeah, like I said, he had a big down. He really felt bad about himself during his teenage years because he had the acne and the pimples, and us guys go through that during adolescence, our voice crack and all that stuff. So
14 years, I think, is your last televised interview. So you went inside, you became a recluse, and that was on purpose. Was it to protect yourself?
I felt that there wasn't anything important for me to say. Those were very sad, sad years for me. And
why so sad? Because on stage we see you performing, you're getting your Grammys. Why so sad?
yeah, like you can get all the awards you can get, but if you're not happy inside, those awards is not worth anything. Like the greatest award you can get in music is the Grammys, and he got a whole bunch of Grammys, but he still wasn't happy with himself. And that's the thing I want to point across tonight is, you can get all the accolades, you can get all the awards, but you can still be unhappy. Like I said earlier, the Bible says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil," and you can gain all the money in the world, and you can lose your soul. And it's sad to see these artists who love what they do, but they're ruined by the fame and the fortune, and they dealt with things before they were famous, and those things has just gotten bigger and bigger, and they never dealt with it the right way. They never took a break and said, "Oh, this thing happened to me. I got to deal with this before I get into something else." So that's a clip from Michael Jackson on the Oprah show. I want to talk about DMX because he dealt with a lot of stuff even when he was young as well. Dealing with his mom abusing him when he was younger and stuff like that. So we're going to go to that clip.
Children.
She was in her closet. That was hard. She had a tray of perfume, and I remember I drank some one time because it smelled good. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But
so he just talking about he had to do what he had to do, to feed himself. He had to, do all kinds of stuff, eat all kinds of stuff, just to survive because his father had left him when he was young, and his mama, we're gonna get to it. His mom abused him when he was young.
I was that hungry. I was that hungry.
By the time...
And before we get into this, rest in peace, DMX. He dealt with his demons, before he passed away. And it's sad these things had to happen, with him, with drugs. He always talk about at the age of 14, he was introduced to these drugs and it, kind of ruined his life. And then when he got all the fame, those drugs got worse. He had all the money in the world, and so he could buy drugs and stuff like that. And his addiction got worse even when he got all this fame. He got married. His wife, which was his girlfriend at the time, she really had to deal with his demons. acting crazy and all that, being insane and all that stuff. So it's a lot.
When Earl was 7, his father, Joe, moved to Philadelphia and never looked back, leaving Earl alone with his now abusive mother.
Yeah, I got beatings,
She was taking out all the pain she suffered in her life, and she would say it while she was beating him, like, you're not or...
So, yeah. So, like I said, the parents have a lot to do with, their children, the way they are, how they think, even from a little child. And so we're going to talk about on the next episode about R. Kelly, because he was abused by a family member, and it kind of took a toll on his mental health as well from a young age. So, but we talking about DMX right now, how he was abused by his mother when he was young, and he kind of coped with it, by being angry and, as a young child, stealing stuff and all that stuff.
You're just like your father.
There was times when he came over with webs and stuff on his body and stuff like that, marks and stuff from being, beat by his...
Yeah, so his mom really abused him. He still kind of thought about that even when he got older, all the things his mother did to him.
Mom.
You get a beat, you're in the house. You can't even go anywhere. You just got to take it. Like, where you going to go? Room to room, under the bed, and, don't work. There were times when she was out of control. But I'm not dead.
Earl.
And you could tell in the interview, by his facial, expressions, he really, when he talk about those things, his mind go back to those times. And that's, as a parent, you got to really think about those things, is what I'm saying to my child really going to affect him in the future, him or her in the future. So you got to think about those things as parents, especially parents of those who have children that have creativity. It don't even have to be music, but they have creativity. They have, a bright future. You have to give them positive words, and not, neglect them or do anything like that.
Earl longed for a place free of violence, something he found on the weekends at his grandmother's house on the other side of town.
Grandma, Mariella Holloway. Grandma loved me to death.
The nurturing that he was looking for.
And so he was so close to his grandma, and later on in this documentary, his grandma had passed. His grandma was the closest thing to him because his mom had abused him. And, once he lost his grandma, he thought, his whole world was over. So
from his mom, he got from his grandmother, so she was more like mama to him in his eyes.
I could do no wrong in her eyes. And because of that, I did no wrong in her eyes. In her eyes.
When Earl wasn't at his grandmother's house, he was running on the bleak streets of Yonkers, starting a...
So he was taking that anger out on the streets. He was stealing stuff, and you'll hear that.
life of crime.
I started stealing about 7 years old. Just because I was hungry, really. But I got bold with it after a while. I wanted money. And I stole a dog, so I had to feed the dog.
So since his mama was, not really there for him, he had to do for his own. And he had to do illegal stuff like steal and, sell drugs and all that stuff, so.
People knew, okay, he's from the projects. They knew his stay out of his way at that time.
And I bought me a knife. I learned how to flick it, too.
And for those who tuning in, thanks for tuning in. We're talking about prioritizing mental health over music success. So thanks for tuning in if you're tuning in. And if you missed some things, it's going to be on my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, Music Tips and Reviews with JG. If you're in here, let me know that you're in here. Now we're talking about DMX, how he was, his mother left him when he was young. And that had a toll on him in the future. And, he dealt with demons, when he got older, with drugs and stuff like that. And we're talking about prioritizing mental health over music success. And we're talking about different artists and how they dealt with things before they achieved success, and when they achieved success, those things, you know, really got worse because, you know, they got all this money and fame and fortune, and those addictions, those things they was dealing with, you know, it got bigger and bigger because, you know, they didn't deal with it before their music success. Earlier we talked about Michael Jackson, how his father told him he was ugly and all this stuff. You know, he started getting pimples on his face and all this stuff, and he dealt with that. And now we're talking about DMX, how he dealt with abuse from his mother. You know, his father left him at a young age, and we checking that out right now.
Yeah, I would use it if I had to.
Earl's life of petty crime intensified his sense of isolation. Soon he was a danger to anyone who tried to get close to him.
I was angry. I had an anger.
And so, you know, he had an anger problem, you know, even when he was young. And those things had escalated when he got older. You know, we talking about mental health here, you know. Like I said, those things before you become famous, you know, they can get worse as you get older if you don't deal with it. So, you know, this may be the most important thing I would discuss on my page because this is a very important topic. What's up, Black Intro? What's up? Yeah, we're talking about, you know, mental health over musical success. Check out Black Intro TV. He has a great channel as well. He talks about, you know, different things. He has a series called the Sun Series, so check that out. He doing his thing over there on his page. Check out Black Intro. And also, if you want to be a guest on this show, I'm gonna put the link so you can be a guest if you want to. All right. So now we're talking about DMX. You know how he dealt with things. He dealt with demons when he was young, and now you know. Rest in peace, DMX.
A problem, and I thought I could actually kill somebody. Stabbed a couple of kids with pencils. Threw a chair at the teacher. Started a lot of fights in school. Not just with the students, but with the teachers. You know, I became like.
So he dealt with anger issues because, you know, his mom left him and he was being abused by his uncle. His mother. And so, you know, he dealt with those things, you know, the wrong way, you know. And so when he got famous, you know, he still dealt with those issues. And it kind of went to, you know, his son, how he treated his children as well. If you see Ayala Fix My Life, you know, he dealt with things with his son. So it kind of, you know, takes a toll on you and your future.
Real expressive, like, something gotta give, you know?
By the time he was 11, Earl was completely out of control. His mother scheduled a visit to Children's Village, a reform school for...
So his mom, I guess he got out of control, so his mom took him to like some special school for, you know, kids with problems and stuff like that. And you'll see what happened.
At-risk youth. It was a crowded, hostile environment where the most troubled children were institutionalized.
She told him she just wanted to visit a place. And they get there, and it was kind of suburban and lots of grass. She says, Earl, do you like it? He's like, yeah, I kind of like it. This is cool. And she says, well, great, because you're not coming home.
So that really had a toll on him in the future. You know, he dealt with those things. And, yeah, it's crazy how, you know, those things affect you in the future, so...
His mother and his sisters get back in the car, and they go home, and they leave him there.
I was hurt. And I was angry. You know, 'cause I wasn't prepared at all. You know, I didn't bring a bag.
Yeah, he still was dealing with this at this time he did this interview. You know, you still see that, you know, it really affect the person, even though when they got older, they think about those things. And, you know, if you don't deal with those things, you know, it's going to haunt you for the rest of your life.
You know, I just had what I had on. You know, just took it. It was one of the hardest things I ever did in my life to this day, was to just say, all right, and keep a straight face.
It was just a
yeah, so he said, you know, he's still dealing with it, you know, even to this day.
continuation of his betrayal by his mother and by others that really affected his ability to trust anyone after that.
Another side of me was born right then and there. The side that enabled me to protect myself. That let me know that I had to protect myself. Because no one else would protect me.
Coming up, DMX.
So, he dealt with his demons, as far as, being angry. And then later on, his drug addiction. So, if you don't deal with your mental health before you become famous, it's going to take a toll on you even worse, once you get the fame and fortune. So later on in his life, he finally met his mother, and his mother surprised him. And this is his response, his interview about that situation.
The MIDI pack.
Goes MIDI pack.
Unbelievable.
Insane MIDI pack.
You want a beautiful melody? I got you.
We went to couples therapy when I was married. Me and my wife went to couples therapy, the TV show shit. And I guess during one of the counseling sessions, whatever, I just mentioned some things with my mother. And I remember we was in one of our counseling sessions one day, and the lady said,
So he really, he really still was thinking about this when he was older. And his mother surprised him during his therapy. Because during this time, he was really trying to cope with his demons of drugs and stuff. And so his mother surprised him. And this was a little bit before he passed away, before he overdosed. And, rest in peace, DMX.
how would you feel if you saw your mother right now? I'm like, I don't know. Like, yeah, of course I love her, but, I didn't know. And then she asked, my mother came in, and she walked.
See, it really affected him. Later on in his career, he never dealt with those things. And finally, he get to see his mother and really talk to her about some things. And it affected him. Rest in peace, DMX.
Yeah, she walked in the door, and I think it's at that point right there that I just let everything go. I mean, that's how.
And that's good, that his mother came later on and really they got to talk. And it's, it's sad that, he passed away. But it's good that his mother surprised him and they got to talk and get to hug and cry and let those things, go. So.
It was like a I don't know, a different. It wasn't a hurt cry. It was like, yes, this is what I need.
And it's not like a love from your parents, So, that was DMX, how he responded to finally, get to talk to his mother. And the next person I want to talk about is Lil' Kim. She had a lot of, face transformations, a lot of surgeries and stuff like that. And, I feel a lot of women, a lot of females in the industry of a darker complexion, they deal with more of the insecurities of fame, because a lot of, lighter complexion females in the game, they get, the most attention, I feel. And a lot of darker complexion females in the industry, they don't get the same recognition, and they sometimes be more talented than those of a lighter complexion. So we're going to check out Lil' Kim, this video.
My name is Pete Vargas, and for 20 years, I have been helping entrepreneurs understand how to reach.
Before a Nicki Minaj or Cardi B or even Beyonce, there was only one Queen Bee the world.
And so she came before all these people, and I feel she really influenced a lot of these female rappers, especially, their style and the way they do things. And it's sad, that she, changed her look in order to conform to the music industry. I felt she was already beautiful the way she was, as a darker skin, rapper. And I'm glad Foxy Brown really didn't, give in to those things because, she was a beautiful dark skin. She's a beautiful dark skin, MC. And it's sad to see that, Lil Kim, she fell under that thing where she had to change her image in order to get recognition. So.
World knew of, and that was Little Kim, a fierce female rapper that carved a path into hip hop and set a different standard, going on to have successful albums and leave a very memorable legacy. But beyond her beefs and controversies that emerged throughout the years, there was one thing that overshadowed it all: her drastic change in her physical appearance. Throughout the years, it became extremely apparent that Lil' Kim had gotten a small...
And she had a huge drastic change. And you see a lot of females that's darker, they deal with this thing and they slightly bleach their skin, and over time their skin get lighter and lighter. And you don't know the type of stress that these females especially deal with in the music industry, that, executives, they say they're too big or they're too small. Kelly Price, she dealt with that with a music label. They told her that she was too big and stuff, and then Ron Astley, picked her up, and she was signed to his label. And you can't just let these music labels control you and make you feel a certain way. And that goes with mental health as well. You gotta be confident about yourself, even though you're rejected by certain people or certain companies or certain labels. You gotta, know within inside yourself that you're great and you're confident in who you are as a person. Before, an artist, that you don't have stress, you don't have depression, you're not dealing with any addictions before you get this, success, because that success will make those things even worse.
Smaller nose, lighter skin, and a massive amount of work done to her body and face. When asked about in interviews, she would abstain from...
So we talking about Lil' Kim right now. She dealt with a lot of things, as far as her image. And, she had a lot of plastic surgery. And she dealt with a lot of mental health as well. So we're talking about prioritizing mental health over music success. And you see how a lot of these artists dealt with it. We talked about Michael Jackson earlier. And I see one person in here. Shout out your name if you're in here, and I'll shout you out.
And actually get offended. While most people, even myself, have made jokes about Lil' Kim's transformation, what we don't know is her transformation is our fault as a...
Yeah, so he's talking about, how the media and all this stuff really influenced these artists to change their image. And you can't, before you get in the industry, you got to be, like I said, you got to be confident about who you are and your image, because you'll end up like that, wanting to change your image over and over again to be suitable to your fans, to be suitable to everybody, because you want to keep those fans. But like I said, you got to be confident, about yourself. And shout out to the people that's in here. The Red Golden Child says, I met Lil' Kim in London. She looked fine to me. Your pictures, she has a lot of makeup on. Yeah, true. But I just, talking about the basics of, a lot of these artists, they feel they have to change because, people, what people think about them. Especially those artists of a darker complexion. They deal with a lot, these, images. And we talking about prioritizing, mental health over music success, and how, success can take a toll over you if you don't deal with those mental issues.
Society. Lil' Kim is a woman who went to drastic measures trying to reach the ideal beauty standard.
And I feel, she was beautiful when she was, when she first came in the game. She was beautiful. I feel she didn't have to do those things. I don't know what she dealt with, behind closed doors. I don't know why. I don't know, the reason why she had these different surgeries. But shout out to the Red Golden Child. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for your comment. Yeah, some of these pictures, they put all these types of makeup on you, make you look so different. But yeah.
In a 2000 interview, she said, "All my life, men have told me I wasn't pretty enough, even the men I was dating. And I'd be like, well, why are you with me then? It's always been men putting me down."
So even, the female, they might say, I'm okay. But, on the inside, these things, has a toll on you. She said her, the guys that she was with told her about her image, and it kind of influenced, the way she thought about herself. And, we're just talking about mental health all around. You have to be confident about yourself and not let these people influence you. You have to prioritize your mental health over, music success, because you can be, so successful. You can be so creative with what you do, but if you don't deal with that mental side, you end up, on a downfall later on. And on the next episode, I'm gonna talk about R. Kelly. I'm gonna talk about some other different people. I can't think about it right now, but I have a list of people I want to talk about on later episodes of this series, prioritizing mental health over success. But these are a few videos. We talked about DMX. We talked about Michael Jackson. So, yep.
Just like my dad. To this day, when someone says I'm cute, I can't see it. I don't see it no matter what anybody says. Guys always cheated on me with women who were European looking. The long hair type. Really.
So that European look, really influenced a lot of stuff. What's up, Steve? So we talking about prioritizing mental health over music success. A lot of these artists deal with those things. They deal with the way people think they look. Earlier I talked about Kelly Price, and I pray for her and her family that they find her. They're saying that she's missing, but I don't want to go into details about that because I don't know all the information. But also, if you want to be a part of this show, you can use the link, and I add you, and you can discuss what you feel about this topic, because this is a very important topic. This may be the most important topic I talk about on my channel, because mental health, even during this pandemic, is important that we deal with our mental health, and we deal with these things before it really escalates into something even bigger. As creators, we gotta deal with our mental as well. We may be songwriters and we write, for other people to cope with their issues, but we have to check ourselves first as well. Because we write for certain people, we might write about their lives, but we don't deal with our own lives, as creatives. So, before you get the Grammy, before you get all these awards, you have to get your mental health straight first, because even if you get all these accolades, you still gonna feel unhappy about yourself.
Beautiful women who left me thinking, how can I compete with that? Being a regular black girl was good enough. Lil' Kim has also referred to herself as a Spanish woman trapped in a black girl's body and a black Kardashian. The self-loathing is pretty apparent. Her physical appearance to this day still changes quite often.
Yes, she's still dealing with those things, with her image. And like I said, she was beautiful, when she first came in the game. I felt she didn't have to change anything, God made her the way she made her. God made her the way he made her. And she felt she had to change because the industry appealed to that European look, with the straight hair and the blonde hair and stuff like that. And especially as African American woman, we deal with that image thing a lot. So,
of course, there's personal factors in her life that have contributed to her transformation. However, it's very evident that the overall reason is because of the societal norms that were and still are established. Although there is progress being made, it's baby steps. Lil' Kim is a victim of self-hate, colorism, mental abuse, and the European standard of beauty. She changed her.
Yeah, so that's Lil' Kim. It's sad she had to go through those things. She had to change her image and all this stuff. But like I said, you got to be confident about yourself. Like I said, I had a link to my to this episode if you want to be a guest on the show. And we talking about mental health. We talked about DMX earlier, but going back to DMX, even dealing with his son. I think I put the video up here. He dealing with his son. He still dealt with those things.
I am Charlie D'Amelio from TikTok.
I don't know how Charlie blew up.
Sorry you had to hear that, man. I've never ever talked like that. And
So he dealt with that. His son. He those anger issues. He didn't really work out, and so with dealing with his son, he put the anger out on his son. He didn't hardly be around his son, and his son hated seeing him like that because DMX was still dealing with those demons. So
I've never in my life had to talk to a woman like that. Ever in my life, talk to a grown lady like that. I want to apologize.
And so his mother left him and all this stuff. So it's hard dealing with even females. The way he talked to females, and that can happen too. Your mother leave you, she abuse you, and then later on, you feel like you hate other females and stuff like that. That could happen as well. And like I said, as parents, you gotta deal with these. You gotta treat your children with the utmost respect. Even though they gotta respect you, you have to respect them. And I think that had a toll on him, his life. He dealt with his mother abusing him and leaving him at a school, and stuff like that, abandoned him. So, these artists, these, famous people, they dealt with a lot of stuff as well. But they have to, you have to prioritize those things before you become famous, or they have a toll on you. So, I see one person in here. Let me know you're in here, and I'll shout you out. Like I said, I see Steve in here. Shout out to him.
That's for it, but I just never had to do that before. All right, man. So what's on your mind?
Look, I don't want you to think like I'm trying to attack you, what you've done, all just start ragging on you. I don't want you to think that. I love you.
So Xavier was the son. It was DMX longtime girlfriend, later wife. This is her son, and he's talking to her, his dad DMX, about how he felt when he was younger and still dealing with his father not being there for him, and seeing his father, DMX on drugs and stuff like that. So, it's like, if you don't deal with those things before you have kids and you have success, it can take a toll. So,
coming in here with love.
I know you love me.
Yeah, and I just want you to say, okay, I'm sorry. I did it.
Well,
I'm wrong, but
I did it. I did it. You know what I mean? And I was wrong for it.
And during this time, he still was dealing with that drug addiction and stuff like that. And it's hard to get across to him on this interview because it's hard to deal with people that's on drugs and stuff and talk to them while they on drugs because they're not, really comprehensive like they should be. So this is what's happening.
We've not interacted with each other. So long. Why? Why?
Because you never mean.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, DMX, it's hard for him to accept those things from his son, even though they might have been true. And so, we talking about DMX, how, he dealt with demons, and then, he had his son, and, those things happen where he wasn't there for his son. So.
But what about the first 14 years, man, when I broke back? I'm not even talking about providing, but just to have a relationship with you. Do you remember how often I would...
So thanks for tuning in. We're talking about prioritizing mental health over music success. Next episode, I'm going to talk about R. Kelly and some other artists as well. How they dealt. Oh, I know the other person, Whitney Houston. I'm going to talk about her as well on my next episode. So shout out to the people that, tune in to this show. Prioritizing mental health over music success. I felt this is a very important topic I should talk about.
Hey, what's going on? Nothing. Anything you want to talk about? Do you recall any time I've asked you, I would make up things just to spend time with you, yet still we had no interaction. We're the type of people that we're never really gonna talk much.
So he dealt, with his son, conversations with his son. His son had a lot on his mind as far as the way DMX treated him, even when he was younger. And DMX trying to get to his son that, he tried to have that relationship with him, but, he was quiet and reserved and then opened up to his father, DMX.
Yeah. That doesn't mean we don't love each other, because we're similar. Like, even when you see me mad, you would know that I'm not mad at you. I didn't know a nigga with a father. I didn't know not one nigga with a father. Not one. The best I could, man. Just loving.
So, they feel he making excuses for things he done. And, this is our first episode of prioritizing mental health over music success. I hope y'all learn, y'all music creators out there that really want to get in this music industry and achieve success, that you have to prioritize mental health over music success. And I hope, I wish you much success in the music industry. But if you don't get your mental health right before you get in the industry, things can backfire on you. You can get all this money in the world and lose your soul. That's what the Bible says. And we have to prioritize our mental health, because, you can deal with depression now before you achieve this success and all this fame and all this fortune, and it becomes worse. So thank you all for tuning in, those that have tuned in, and I'm gonna do a part 2 and maybe a part 3 to this, because this is a very important topic. And again, thanks for tuning in to Music Tips and Reviews with JG. This was part 1 of prioritizing mental health over music success. All right, peace.